What's going on, y'all? I'm back with another quick volume of Welcome to the Franchise here. Know it's been a little minute, had a bit of a layoff here, but still trying to get back into it while I can here. Just want to tap into the NFL right now with the NFL draft coming up in a few days now. Shit, time flying. So I just want to talk a little bit about the stories out there you hear about SHEDEUR sliding to, a certain team. And then I know I got into a little bit of the first 10 picks, how I think it probably should go or might go, whatever, with the teams that are picking in those slots. And now I just want to talk a little bit about the teams picking from 11 to 20. And with that being said, let me get straight into it with y'all, man. So with SHEDEUR right now, of course, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of chatter about him throughout this whole draft process, even from the ending of the college football season till now. And the new thing now that we're hearing is that SHEDEUR may be sliding down the board. You got some people out there which I think they smoking some shit. They smoking that good shit. Talk about he might slide down to the 20s or slide down to the Steelers or past the Steelers, some shit like that. I think that's kind of that's a little bit of hate, or they just, like I said, they smoking on something special, something different, saying that bullshit. I don't think it's gonna be that crazy of a slide. I don't see him sliding out of the top 10 or even like the first 12 spots. I think that's a little bit too crazy. Someone's either gonna trade up or within the first 10 picks he's gonna get picked. So I'm seeing a lot of SHEDEUR sliding to the Saints, which I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold you, that might be a good look for him. To be honest, it might be a good look for both of them, for both the Saints and for SHEDEUR Sanders. And honestly, it might be better than the Raiders fit that I've been on since the beginning, since before the whole draft season started coming up and everything. I've been really bullish on being like, nah, the Raiders gonna pick him, and I just felt like that was a better fit for him. And in a situation where he's still close to, Nevada's not far from Colorado. If looking at it on the map, I don't know that personally, going in and everything like that. As far as Colorado, of course, been to Vegas a few times, but I think it's good. That Sanders brand, that Sanders family, they really want to keep the family close. Your pops is still coaching there. So I felt like it was a good fit while they start building around. Also, your mentor, Tom Brady, is basically the secret GM / secret owner there, and your mentor. So I thought that would be the best fit. But this might be a little bit better in terms of just thinking about it like this, trying to think optimistically about it here, right? The alignment, with the coach. You got a young coach and everything. He's gonna implement probably some new things that he's been doing on his stops across the way with, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Chargers, and then he's gonna try and maybe do some new things there. And it'd be nice for him to have, a young quarterback that's gonna be able to learn some new shit as well, coming in with the Saints. And then you got your young quarterback who's going to be around, right, while you still continue to build this roster. And this roster is still pretty young. I still think they got some guys on here that could play. It's all about how they want to scheme things, the culture, the foundation that's going to be set and built. And within the next couple seasons, or a few couple seasons, you draft right or sign the right guys, get them in here, build a little bit around the roster, and SHEDEUR, while he's learning and everything, that you never know. They might fuck around and be a team that turns shit around within just 3 seasons or maybe just 2. But I just like being optimistic about it. I like the idea of, you got a young coach, young rookie head coach, but has some experience and more the offensive side, and it's probably going to scheme up something that is going to help, going to help ease in, the beginning process of being a quarterback in the NFL for someone like SHEDEUR. And then down there in New Orleans, man, with that coach and them people there, I'm sure that the fans there and that culture, they'll definitely accept them with open arms and shit. And you know what I mean? Like, who knows? It'll be like probably some cash money, no limit type vibes, knowing how SHEDEUR's personality is, of course, with those type of fans and the culture there. Everyone got love for Dion and everything. So I think it might be a good look for both the franchise and especially for SHEDEUR there. So, you never know. And then with that being said, also following that, you got Derek Carr out of nowhere now. It seems like he wants out now with this, this shoulder injury now that needs surgery. Okay, so now he needs shoulder surgery, right? And then on top of the fact that now they're saying that he wants out, and he probably wants to be traded or released. Which is crazy. So now it make no sense, but for the Saints to draft a quarterback or draft someone like SHEDEUR, it wouldn't be a bad look. Then a dome, I think that's the environment everyone keeps saying suits SHEDEUR with his arm, I think his arm strength is pretty good. I'm not saying it's the best. I ain't seen it like the craziest, but he's accurate. You know what I'm saying? I think he has a good enough arm. But they're saying a dome is a good environment for him. Cool, that's what's up. And you play another dome team in that division in Atlanta, so it'll be a good look. And now with Carr wanting out, you know what I mean? It's perfect for him going to the Saints. And right here, do we insert the Browns or Pittsburgh making a trade now for Derek Carr maybe? Because, Rodgers, we don't know. Rodgers still might sign after the draft to see what everybody does. He might still sign with Pittsburgh and everything. But to be honest with you, I don't think that motherfucker want to play there. I really don't think he want to play in Pittsburgh like that. I think it's a last resort. You know what I'm saying? Push the button or whatever. Not saying no panic button, but like, hey, fuck it. I'll just play here and just ride out with this. But, I just don't see him really wanting to play in Pittsburgh. And like I said, I was saying, you either just pack it up or just take a little hiatus, take a little year off, or just see how the training camp or how the season plays out. If one of these young quarterbacks or one of these quarterbacks out here might get hurt, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but see how it pans out. I think that'll be the best bet for him, and he's earned it in his career with the way that he's played to at least make that kind of choice and everything like that, even though all these motherfuckers in the media get annoyed with him taking mad long and playing around and all that shit. He's earned it. He's earned it with the way that he's played with his type of career. Maybe not so much recently, so yeah, it could be annoying and shit, but, I'm not surprised that he want to wait till after the draft instead of being like, I'm going to sign here and they still going to draft a quarterback anyway, some dumb shit like that. But now moving on to the draft and going from slots 11 to 20, want to get into that. I think the Niners, their number 11 pick, right? I think they're mostly going to be going defense with pick 11, especially seeing the success that the Eagles had in that division. And if they want to get over the hump or still want to be in the run-ins, they're going to have to run into the Eagles. And seeing that they dominate on defense on all levels of the defense, I think that here they go with an edge rusher or a corner. I'm thinking they should definitely go with a corner here with somebody like Will Johnson or out of Michigan or Jahdae Barron out of Texas. I think their play styles could fit what the Niners want to do. I think more Jahdae Barron got a lot of energy, high intensity the way he plays. He could play the ball also and is physical. I think a guy like Rob Saleh really like that, but knowing that Rob Saleh is going to be back being a D coordinator for this squad, they'll most likely be thinking about going for an edge guy. So maybe the guy like Michael Williams right there. I think that's that body type and everything and how he plays. He played a little bit of linebacker at Georgia. That's what Robert Saleh really likes in his system. So I could see him being the pick there as well. Number 12 for the Cowboys. They're probably going to, I think they're going to make some type of swing here, some kind of crazy swing here at this slot. So it's probably going to be a wide receiver for Matt Golden out of Texas or Ted McMillan out of Arizona. I could really see them going with McMillan instead of Matthew Golden. It just seems like the real Cowboys thing to do that they would do there. Instead of picking maybe a solid running back like Omari and Hampton, if Gentry's going by then, which I think he will be. But it seems like a real Dallas Cowboy thing to do. They're going to go ahead and go for Ted McMillan because, he's flashy. People are saying they remind that he reminds them of like a T. Higgins, that kind of smooth play and everything to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. Matthew Golden also, he's a burner, probably a deep threat at number 12. I don't know, but hey, the Cowboys is the type of shit they do, right? And then 13 with Miami, I think with everything going on now, with Ramsey about to get traded, they about to get him up out of there and everything, pack his ass up out of there. I think they go corner also. If Will Johnson is still there, depending on if the Niners go either of those guys, or maybe they're both still available. So you got choices between Barron and Will Johnson. if they fall. And then Malachi Starks, that I could see them really making that pick and liking that player with Holland signing over to the Giants. And they want some safety help with someone who's versatile, who could play corner and play over the top and kind of play all over the back end there, which is similar to Ramsey and similar to how we saw, I feel like, Holland when he first came in and was playing with the Dolphins. And that really was his game coming out of Oregon as well when he got drafted by the Dolphins. So I could see them going there with that. At number 13. 14, I could see the Colts definitely going for someone like Tyler Warren if he is there, or Colston Loveland at tight end if he's there. I don't think the Bears are going to go tight end at number 10. I think they take Genty. And I don't think the teams before that are going to be picking Tyler Warren at tight end. You got motherfuckers talk about Tyler Warren getting picked at 11 by the Niners. I'm like, for what? I think that Kittle still has a couple seasons left in him, and they'll probably find somebody in the later rounds that could still contribute on the come up when Kittle moves on. So I think that the slot there, Tyler Warren will be available, and it'll be a good fit for the Colts or Colston Loveland. Number 15, Atlanta, they always need fucking pass rush all the time, and it seems like they never pick that shit, or they miss out on it every time. They just never pick that shit, or they miss out on every time. So I think it's a no-brainer here. It's real easy. Mike Green out of Marshall will be a real good pick for them. They need some speed off the edges there on that defense. The defense got some guys that could play, that could contribute here and there. That they really need to tighten up that defense. And, I think Raheem Morris is going to be looking into that, because that's really what he started in his game and coaching, even though you do see his progress throughout the game and everything. Being a D coordinator, moving to head coach, I think Mike Green is a good pick. They want some speed and a little bit more pop off the edge on that defense. They're going to need it. Then the Cardinals, to be honest here, I've been seeing a lot of shit. Tapping into some of these mock drafts when I have time. Seeing a lot of defensive tackle, seeing a lot of corner, seeing Matthew Golden go there. To be honest, keep it a buck, I think that if they want to make a push into the playoffs, and I think they're going to be one of the teams no one's going to be thinking, and slide their way into the playoffs as a wild card and be a tough opponent, as they lost a lot of games by one possession last year. I think if they really want to take it to the next level, to see if they also need to make some changes at the position in the future, they need to get more protection or another weapon for Kyler Murray. They're gonna need to do that. So I think I will go with Kelvin Banks right here, number 16. Make sure Kyler Murray's protected, so you can see if you still want to go forward with him as your quarterback, that he could get the job done and really get you, over the hump, or keep going to the playoffs, or fuck around, get into a conference championship game. You got to protect that little guy back there who's really dynamic. Or get him another weapon right after drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. Get him another weapon there and get Matt Golden. Like I said, I seen that out there. I don't think that's too bad of a look, but I think those are the only choices that should be made there. And then number 17. I think since he's gonna really need a pass rusher here, because who knows what's gonna be going on with Trey Hendrickson. It looks like he's either gonna hold out, or it's gonna be a trade, or it's gonna get ugly. So I think they should look into a pass rusher here, or definitely a corner, because they got to get their defense right. It's the defense here. We already know what their offense is going to be capable of doing, all that firepower. You got Joe Burrow play like a fucking MVP last year, going crazy. But they got to shore up that defense. That's the real problem right now, which was really hurting them for the most part. So I think at pass rusher, they could go for someone like the dude out of Boston, Izaraku, or James Pierce out of Tennessee. Those guys seem like, some sleepers that in the first round could be a steal, and they could really contribute fast and early for that Bengals defense. Or you go for a guy like maybe Siobhan Ravel out of ECU, who's got height, he's got ball skills to get the ball back into Joe Burrow's hands, flip the field and then get them some more points on the board, because a lot of their games, especially games that they lost to teams like the Ravens, it was back and forth, high points and everything like that, going back and forth. And if you could get someone that could get a stop on any of the quarterbacks you play in division, or any other big games you had throughout the year, you got a cornerback who gets his hands on the ball, flip field, that would be a good look also. But we all know pass rush is definitely, way important and just as important as well. So those guys are where I feel like should be picked there for Cincy. And then at number 18, we got, I don't know. I think they're gonna go offensive lineman. I'm seeing that's what their need is. Somebody like I keep seeing Gray Zabel pop in there a lot. I also see a Kenneth Grant at defensive tackle popping there a bit. And then receiver, I see Matt Golden's name in there pop a bit. Mecca Ibuka pop a bit. Even though they got JSN and they got Cooper Kupp, who are like sliders type guys. I think if they have another big body on the outside that's dynamic after trading away Metcalf, if Tech continues to slide and drop, if I was the Seahawks, I would grab him up before you let someone like the Chargers grab him up. If the Chargers don't decide to change their mind on the tight end or someone else, but I think they still want to. I think as far as the Chargers, they still want to stay on this Quentin Johnston project. And of course, fuck with Lad McConkey. They signed Mike Williams back, and they want to run the ball for the most part anyway. So I don't know about that. But if Tet dropped right here, that wouldn't be a bad look. I gotta look back again and check who the fuck is gonna be throwing these niggas the ball like that. I gotta remember who's gonna be back there. But if not, it looks like probably a safe bet. Whether someone good or we don't know who's throwing the ball back there to show up the offensive line. That's always a good thing. So they probably go O-line there. Number 19, Tampa, we know when they need it and they got to go for it, they're going to get it. So it's probably going to be a linebacker. So I expect to see one of the dudes out of Georgia or Bama here, Jalen Walker, if he slides down and doesn't go to the Panthers or something like that in the top 10. But Jalen Walker or Jahad Campbell, two linebackers that have been, you've been hearing a lot about. And Tampa Bay loves to draft those fucking linebackers out of college that are nice in the SEC. And then for number 20, I got the Broncos going for Amari Hampton. I think that makes the most sense. I think Sean Payton, of course, being an offensive guy, and seeing how the running back production was from there with a quarterback like Bo Nix, how the production was from that position last year, he knows that he could up it. It could be a little bit better there. And Amari Hampton seems like another complete back in this draft. He could catch. He's good between the tackles, strong body, big body guy and everything. So I think that would be a good element to add to this offense with Bo Nix. You got the receivers out there that are doing their thing. So I think that's where the Broncos are going to go and the way they should go. I think that makes the most sense there. So to round out 11 to 20 for right now. And then just to wrap things up here, with the Giants, I want to talk a little bit about the Giants, right? I think that the Giants kind of in the best, they kind of in a win-win situation either way now. And then I'm hearing that they're still possibly interested in or still in the mix for a QB and then setting up the visit with SHEDEUR. So it's like, could he still be getting drafted there, or could they trade back and still be drafting to get more picks and drafting? But you have pick number 3. We know number 1 is Cam. Number 2 now, everyone's saying to the Browns is Travis Hunter, which, like I said, I feel bad for him starting his career there. I don't think it's a fit for him for the Browns. I also don't really think it's a fit for him on the Giants, even though it would be fun to see how it pans out. Him playing both sides of the ball. They still need the Giants also need. They don't need the corner as much now with the signings that they have. Paulson Adebo, you still got Banks there, even though he's just looking a little shaky. But they could use a receiver there. But it's like, you got those guys throwing you the ball, Russell Wilson and Winston. So is that really going to help in his beginning processes of trying to be a receiver? Probably could. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of rookie receivers that have been capable and really good playing with bad quarterbacks to start off their career. But, I think that the Giants are in a good slot because they have a chance to, if the Browns pick Hunter, Abdul Carter falls in their lap. So they have their version of Micah Parsons for the future and beyond. So good. Check that off there while you still continue to build your roster in other places until you get your quarterback, get your guy of the future. Or if they take Abdul Carter there and then you're not too sure about Travis Hunter being the fit, thinking kind of like how I am, trade back. Let's see if New England or Jacksonville or somebody wants to be like, yo, this is the most dynamic player in the draft. Fuck it. they open for business is try and get Travis Hunter. If Abdul Carter goes to the Browns, right? Get more picks. You trade back. What you should do, trade back, get more picks, and keep building on your roster for when you get your QB of the future. You know what I mean? Because what are you going to do? In the second round, draft fucking Tyler Shuck, or they ain't drafting Jalen Milroe. Well, what are you going to do? Draft Jackson Dart in the second round? Because someone's going to reach for him. I found someone's going to reach for him unless niggas actually really come to their senses again and be like, no, he a third round quarterback. We'll wait, because there's only a few teams that really like need or want a quarterback like that. It's probably about like 4 to 6 of them. So we could wait and let him drop to like the third or whatever. But in the meantime, trade out of 3 if you don't get Abdul Carter, right? See who want to go crazy for Travis Hunter because he's the most dynamic player in the draft, right? See what kind of deal New England or anyone else wants to do with you. Get some more picks. Start building out this roster now so you could get the roster ready in the near future or in the future when you do get your guy at quarterback for the future of the franchise, which is, of course, like I've been saying, Arch Manning. That's probably who they want it to be. But even still, if it's not Arch Manning, there's going to be other quarterbacks in the draft next year that'd be good, probably multiple options and shit. But you should be building on the roster a lot more now if you're not just going to go ahead at number 3 and pull the trigger on SHEDEUR anyway. If you don't believe in SHEDEUR like that, you might as well trade back, get some more picks. Especially if Abdul Carter's gone. But if he's not, I'm taking Abdul Carter, and then I'm just building out the rest of my roster. I'm not even looking at the idea of taking a quarterback, one of these other quarterbacks in the second round like that, because I don't think anybody is better than Cam and SHEDEUR. And behind them, I think it's enough of a gap that makes me feel comfortable enough that, all right, let's build the roster and just wait till next year to pick a quarterback, So I think it's a win-win situation either way for the Giants. But with that being said, it's going to wrap everything up for me here. Welcome to the franchise. Y'all out there, be easy.